Hey there guys, and here is a quick guide to starting in EU3, the Ahoy World Modded / Milsim server. On EU3 we try to maintain a loose gameplay that keeps it fun for any and all, however there are a few rules that need to be observed before you go ahead and jump on the server. Give them a read on the forums, link in the description. So, for a player joining EU3 for the first time, I recommend you jump in one of the basic slots. Primarily these are Rifleman, Grenadier, and Assistant Auto Rifleman, mostly because these roles do exactly what they say on the tin. If you're comfortable with aiming, feel free to jump in a Marksman slot, but be aware that the mods affect how the gun zeros and how scopes work. When you spawn in, the first thing you will want to do is change your loadout. However, when doing this, be sure to abide by the rules and play your role. This means we don't want to see a medic, or even a marksman for that matter, with a full-out sniper rifle and a backpack full of explosives. If you're worried, check out the Play Your Roles forum thread for the guns you're allowed. Link in the description. What I personally like to do is use the virtual arsenal to set up loadouts for all the classes before playing, to maximize in-server playtime. One thing to note is that all of your loadouts should have a radio, the RF7800STR, short range, with micro dagger radio programmer for all classes lower than team lead, and a set of earplugs. We'll get onto this later. Everything else is really up to you. Experiment in the field and be realistic about what you use. On a final note, most non-specialist loadouts should be under 30 kilograms, as stamina is something that can make or break your loadout. Now you're all set up and looking dapper, please God use at least vaguely matching camos. You're going to need to set up your radio. As a bog standard member of a fire team, all you'll need to set up is your short range, so open up your map and check the top left corner of the screen. Here, if the commanding officer is doing their job, you will find all of the frequencies being used by the squads on the server. Find the one that relates to you. So, for example, if you are a member of Alpha 2, you will either be in the Alpha General channel, if only one frequency is marked, or a channel relating specifically to your fire team, if multiple channels are marked. If in doubt, at any point go ahead and ask someone near you in General Chat, your TeamSpeak push-to-talk button. Voice activation is allowed but is frowned upon, especially if your mic is a low quality. Now that you know the frequency your team is on, you will need to set your radio. Go ahead and press Ctrl and P to bring up your radio. If you have the micro dagger in your inventory, this will bring up the frequency screen. Type into the slot the correct frequency and press the Set Frequency button on the radio. Now you have this set, you can go ahead and talk on your radio with caps lock. But watch you don't fill the radio with needless chatter, especially as this compromises your squad while in the AO. So before you go into combat, you need to understand both the personal and general interaction menu. Holding Control and Windows key will open up your self-interaction menu. Here you have Team Management, where you can change your group color and join another person's group. You should never do this. Medical, we'll look here in a minute, and Equipment. When you have certain items in your inventory, other options will show here, but I'll cover this later. The first thing to do once you're set up is put your earplugs in through self-interaction, equipment, earplugs. This stops combat deafness when near particularly loud firing weapons like the auto rifle or the AT-4. Interacting with other players and vehicles is easy. Just press Windows key when looking at the appropriate place and the options will come up. Now when you are hurt, you will see several effects. There will probably be a bleeding effect on your screen, along with a white fade around the edge which symbolizes pain. This will be accompanied by your weapon becoming less steady and possibly inhibited movement. The basics that you need to know are really quite simple. When bleeding, bandage the appropriate limb with the appropriate bandage, packing for large wounds, elastic for crushed tissue, and so on. And then, if necessary, administer morphine. An important note here is that morphine lowers the heart rate. In smaller doses this is okay, but if you start hearing your heart rate, seek medical attention immediately, and in desperate circumstances administer epinephrine to bring your heart rate back up. The medical system will be explained in more detail in a later video, and can also be read up on the forums, link in the description. See the next video for basic loadouts for each of the classes, and basic team play, callouts and orders that every player should know. Hope to see you there.